America is a religious nation. Gallup has been asking Americans about religion going back for decades to the 1950s. Time for an update on where Americans stand on religion. First of all, religious identification. What are you? Do you have a religion? Well, we have now almost 9 out of 10 Americans who tell us they have a religious identity. Notice the numbers here. About half of Americans are Protestant. 20% in our latest poll say they are Catholic. Usually that's a little higher. The rest of Americans identify with some other religion, leaving only 13% of Americans who say they have no religious identity at all. And even that 13% is higher than we've seen in the past. Second indicator, importance of religion in your daily life. Relatively few Americans claim that religion is not very important at all. That's 17% of Americans. That leaves a little over 8 out of 10 who say religion is at least fairly important based on this 3-part scale, and well over half say they think religion is very important in their daily life. And by the way, this measure really hasn't changed all that much in recent decades. We have to go all the way back to the 50s to find a time when there were more Americans who said religion was very important in their daily life. Third indicator, membership in a church or synagogue. Remember, we told you about 87% of Americans have some religious identity. 60% are actually members of a church or synagogue or some other house of worship. That doesn't mean they go to church regularly. I'll get to that in a moment, but it does mean that the majority of Americans claim some kind of membership in a religious entity. Final and fourth point, Americans actually go to church fairly frequently, particularly compared to a lot of data from, say, Western Europe. There are many ways to ask about church attendance. Here's one that we have used recently. What I like to look at here is the bottom end of the scale. Only 15% of Americans say that they never attend church. Add to that another 29% who seldom attend church. That's about 44%. That means that over half of Americans say they attend church about once a month or more frequently, and over 80% say that they attend church at least seldom. In other words, they don't rule out the fact that they go at all. Bottom line out of all of this, there is a lot of religion in America today. Not necessarily active religion, but based on the indicators I've reviewed for you here, I think it is fair to say that America is a religious nation. Join us again on the Daily Briefing. We'll be looking at Americans' views of how our country, the U.S., is viewed in the eyes of the world. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief of the Gallup poll with Democracy on Demand.